Ryoto Matsumoto never dreamed that the Su family would find him. Just when the woman said the whole thing, he trembled all over, and blurted out, "I have so many guards in my house. How could they let you in?" Matsumoto's house has always been heavily guarded. The stronger the heart of harm, the stronger the heart of the defense. In order not to be conspired by others, he arranged 20 bodyguards at home. Among them there are ninjas from small families, and his defenses can be regarded as very strong. So, he couldn't understand how this woman got in. Why didn't he hear any movement? The woman smiled indifferently. "It doesn't matter how many guards there are, I just kill them all? Besides, there are not many people, including your family. There are 36 people in total. Now they are all dead, leaving you two." After that, the woman said again, "You killed more than a dozen of our Su family, we naturally want to ask for more interest." Ryoto Matsumoto looks terrified. He paled in fright, trembling all over, and blurted out, You killed my whole family?" "Yes." The woman nodded, "But you can rest assured that our Su family is still very civilized. Your parents, wife and children, brother and sister-in-law are all poisoned and dead, and there is no blood spill." Matsumoto's legs weakened, he unconsciously stepped back 2 steps, fell on the sofa, his whole muscles trembling violently, gritted his teeth and asked, "As the saying goes, it's not good for wife and children. If you have any hatred, you can just attack me. Why do you want to start with my family?" The woman smiled and asked, "What? Mr. Matsumoto has started talking about the justice of the world? Then when you killed more than a dozen people in my Su family and intended to murder a young master and the young lady of the Su family, why didn't you talk about the justice of the world? What? When you plan all this, you should think of such consequences." Matsumoto gritted his teeth and roared, "You are beasts. Devil. No matter how bad my Matsumoto is, I have never killed a child. My son is only 10 years old. My daughter is only 8 years old." The woman smiled, and said coldly, "So what? If you dare to plot against my Su family, you must be prepared to bear the greatest price. To blame, you can only blame yourself for being too vicious and not leaving others behind. The way is not to leave a way for oneself." Matsumoto's heart collapsed completely at this time. He knows that when he comes out, the most basic quality is to be willing to bet to lose. He has suppressed everything in this game. Since he has lost, he naturally has to lose everything. At this point, Matsumoto sighed sullenly, and said without love, "If this is the case, I am willing to bet, and you kill me too." The woman nodded and said coldly, "You are definitely going to die, but we don't want you to die so happy. Before you die, I want to arrange for you to meet your family again." After that, she clapped her hands and said loudly, "Bring in those dead people." As soon as the words fell, dozens of Su family masters walked in, carrying corpses one after another. These corpses were all placed neatly next to each other in front of Mr. Matsumoto. Ryoto Matsumoto saw this scene, and his whole body was distraught. He really didn't expect that he would end up like this. And he also knew very well that he was bound to die today. However, there is still the only glimmer of hope left in him. That hope is the eldest son taken away when his ex-wife divorced. Ryoto Matsumoto got married for the first time 15 years ago, and his eldest son was born in the 3rd year after marriage. At that time, the Matsumoto family was still in despair, until he met his current wife. Ryoto Matsumoto's current wife was the daughter of a middle-class family in Tokyo. In order to take advantage of her natal power, Ryoto Matsumoto swept his wife out of the house and then married her. Because the current wife didn't like Matsumoto's eldest son, Matsumoto kicked out his eldest son after marriage and let him follow his ex-wife. Later, Matsumoto's second married wife gave him a pair of children, so he rarely thought of his ex-wife and eldest son over the years. But now, Ryoto Matsumoto thought of his ex, and finally felt a trace of comfort in his heart. At least, after his death, the Matsumoto family's blood will not be completely cut off tonight. His eldest son can continue to carry on his blood. For the current Ryoto Matsumoto, nothing can comfort and rejoice him more than this. The Su family girl in front of her seemed to see through his thoughts. The woman smiled playfully and said to Matsumoto, "Mr. Matsumoto, I heard that you have a son?" Matsumoto was taken aback and blurted out, "I don't. Who did you hear it from? How could this be possible?" The woman smiled. Everyone is an adult, so there is no need to be embarrassed by such a botched lie. After that, she said coldly, "Your eldest son's name is Taro Matsumoto. Later, after you drove him out of the house, he changed his surname, followed by your ex-wife's surname, Kurosawa, and changed his name to Kurosawa Shota. 12 years old and lives in Yamanashi Prefecture, not far from Tokyo. Am I right?" Matsumoto listened to her words. His whole body was struck by lightning. After a while, he was already in tears, and he knelt on the ground with a shuddering puff, and begged bitterly, "I beg you, don't kill my son. I only have this one son. If he died too, the Matsumoto family will be completely extinct. I beg you to leave a bloodline for my Matsumoto family. I'll kowtow to you." Having said that, Matsumoto slammed his head against the hard marble floor.